$45 million worth of untouched Yukon gold slipped into Monica Beets' hands before Parker Schnabel even realized what was happening. One moment, Parker's mining empire looked invincible, a storm of red machines grinding endlessly through the frozen night. The next, Monica executed a move so silent, so calculated, and so devastating that the entire mining world froze in disbelief. This wasn't just another payday. This was a discovery so monumental it tipped the scales of power across the Klondike. Picture the Yukon under midnight floodlights. Shadows stretched long across the icy ground. Convoys of trucks thunder along frozen roads, their engines howling like beasts in the dark. Parker's crew believes triumph is near, certain the ground ahead will secure their season. But while Parker charges forward with brute force, Monica works in secrecy. She drills where no one bothers to look. She plants decoys to fool his scouts. She moves her crew like ghosts through the wilderness. And then it happens, her excavator claws into frozen ground, and the earth bursts open with treasure. Nuggets the size of fists tumble free. Veins of gold shine like steel blades in sunlight. Within hours, Monica has locked down a $45 million fortune, hidden from the world, but secure in her hands. This isn't luck, it's strategy. Monica Beets doesn't just defeat Parker Schnabel, she dismantles him. And in the Yukon, humiliation spreads faster than wildfire. For Monica, this isn't just money. It's proof that she is no longer just Tony Beets' daughter. It's the foundation of her own dynasty. For Parker, it's about something deeper, his pride. He's always been the Yukon's golden prodigy, the unstoppable force who always wins. But this season, their rivalry transforms into open war. The line dividing their claims becomes more than a boundary, it's a battlefield. Scouts hide in the trees, binoculars glinting in the cold sun. Dawson's miners whisper that Monica holds a secret Parker doesn't, maybe an old perspectives map, maybe geological data no one else has. By week's end, nobody is talking about the miners anymore. They're talking about a war. Out of the smoke and rumor, a relic emerges, an ancient perspectives journal, its pages yellowed, its words clear. It speaks of a golden spine, a vein of unimaginable thickness buried beneath the Klondike. Many dismiss it as a campfire legend, but whispers ignite when modern surveys detect strange underground signatures, anomalies running deep. Parker laughs it off. Monica doesn't. Quietly, she bankrolls her own surveys, hiding her results behind false names. When the assays return, the data is staggering, gold purity off the charts. Numbers no miner alive has ever seen. If the journal is right, then the spine runs directly beneath her ground. Parker can't see it. He believes in force alone. Bulldozers tear into hills. Excavators chew through river banks. Crews push through exhaustion while diesel drains like water. To outsiders, it looks unstoppable. But it's a house of cards. Monica watches from a ridge above, knowing the truth: his pay dirt is shallow. His fuel costs crushing. His empire burning itself to the ground. She, meanwhile, digs in silence. Decoys planted, crews hidden, radios silenced. She dares where others won't, beneath the permafrost. A zone so dangerous most miners won't touch it. Down there, walls collapse without warning, pits swallow machines whole. But Monica has studied the fault lines, measured the risk, and chosen her ground. She steadies her crew, brace it right, and it holds. And if it holds, we win. They descend into the frozen dark. Supports creak, walls groan. Shovels scrape gravel into pans. At first nothing. Then sparks. Not flakes, not dust, but solid pieces heavy enough to clump together. The first pulse of the golden spine. Parker notices something strange too late. In the dead of night, across the Yukon frost, headlights crawl like predators. Convoys of trucks hauling dirt, too organized to be random. His instincts scream. By dawn, he's tearing across the ice on his quad, Discovery's cameras chasing behind. His jaw set tight. He burst into Monica's camp, fury in his voice, hurling accusations of theft and deception. But Monica doesn't flinch. She doesn't shout. She lets silence crush the air. Then she cuts him apart with icy precision, her sarcasm sharper than steel. Parker came expecting rage. Instead, he's humiliated in front of cameras, his own crew, and the entire Yukon. That night, Dawson explodes with the story. Bars retell it like a boxing match. Monica versus Parker. Beets versus Schnabel. The whispers swell into roars. This is no longer competition. This is war. And while Parker fumes, Monica's crew digs. Until finally, her bucket rips into something harder than gravel. Sparks fly. The wall splits open, and a golden spine reveals itself in all its fury. Veins of gold twist through rock like frozen lightning. Nuggets rain down the plates like coins on steel. Pans shimmer with impossible weight. Numbers roll in 10 times richer than Dawson has seen in decades. For a heartbeat, her crew is stunned silent. Then chaos cheers, tears, helmets thrown into the air. Monica stands calm. Her voice cuts through the noise. Not a word leaves this camp. Not until it's all ours. The Yukon roars with rumors. Parker's asses collapse. His jackpot is worthless. Investors abandon him. His crew whispers about Monica's convoys. Then comes the leak. Shaky drone footage, grainy but undeniable. Monica's camp alive with floodlights, trucks roaring, sluices drowning in gold. It goes viral. Dawson erupts. Parker's humiliation becomes global. For the first time in his career, Parker has no comeback. By season's end, the numbers are written in stone. Monica pulls $45 million in gold. Parker barely breaks even. The Yukon crowns a new ruler. Not Tony's daughter, not a miner in training, but a strategist, a tactician, a conqueror. Monica Beets the queen of gold. The Yukon winter deepens, and with it, the silence across the valley thickens like a blanket of snow. Camps that once thundered with engines now stand frozen, their machines buried under white drifts. Their floodlights extinguished, but not Monica's. Her camp remains alive, its glow piercing through the blizzards like a beacon. Convoys still snake across icy roads, headlights shining defiantly against the dark. Where most miners retreat to wait for spring, Monica pushes forward, refusing to bow to the cold. Her determination turns heads far beyond Dawson. Investors in distant cities take note. Industry veterans who scoffed at her ambitions now whisper of her resilience. She is not just surviving the Yukon winter, she is mastering it. Inside her camp, the atmosphere is one of quiet discipline. Crews rotate in shifts so that the machines never rest. Wash plants hum steadily, their mats catching gold even as frost clings to steel. Heated tents rise like domes of fire against the snow, housing engineers and welders who work tirelessly to keep equipment alive. Monica spares no expense on innovation-insulated hoses, reinforced rigs, fuel systems designed to withstand temperatures that would cripple ordinary machines. Every adjustment, every upgrade is part of a larger plan, not just to mine through the winter, but to prove that her empire can operate year-round, a feat few have ever attempted at this scale. The results are staggering. While rival camps sit idle, waiting for the thaw, Monica's stockpiles grow. Each truckload of frozen pay dirt that she processes is another nail in the coffin of doubt. Each glimmer of gold that spills across sluice mats is another line etched into her legend. Her crew, hardened by endless days and sleepless nights, works with pride that eclipses fatigue. They know they are part of history. They know the world is watching. News of Monica's relentless march spreads far and wide. In Vancouver, boardrooms buzz with her name. In Alaska, whispers ripple through mining towns that a new power is rising from the Yukon. Even across oceans, in Russia and South Africa, industry giants begin to pay attention. She is no longer just a miner. She is becoming a symbol of what determination and strategy can achieve in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Meanwhile, Parker Schnabel's silence grows heavier with each passing day. His once mighty camp, now little more than a graveyard of frozen machinery, stands as a monument to defeat. The few loyal workers who remain speak in hushed tones, their eyes downcast, their faith shaken. Parker himself avoids the public eye. No more boasts, no more declarations of dominance. He spends long hours alone in the shadows of his empty pit, the weight of humiliation pressing harder than the Yukon cold. Dawson feels the shift. The bars that once erupted with cheers at Parker's victories now roar with Monica's name. Old-timers, who once dismissed her as Tony's daughter, raise their glasses in her honor. Young miners speak of her with awe, retelling the story of the Golden Wall as if it were folklore passed down through generations. Monica Beets is no longer an underdog. She is no longer in anyone's shadow. She is the heart of a new era. Yet Monica herself remains grounded. While others celebrate her, she refuses to slow down. Her eyes are fixed on horizons beyond Dawson, beyond the Yukon. She dispatches surveyors into Alaska, their helicopters slicing across snowy ridges to mark new claims. Contracts are drawn in secret, signed under the cover of blizzards. Slowly, methodically, she spreads her reach like roots beneath frozen soil. She is not content with one empire. She is building a dynasty. Tony Beets, watching from his own camp, cannot hide his pride. The man who once ruled the Klondike with an iron fist now admits, that his daughter has eclipsed even his greatest triumphs. In rare moments, he allows himself a smile, muttering words that miners repeat across Dawson. She's rewritten their rules. Words that miners repeat across Dawson. She's rewritten their rules. She's the future now. By spring, when the snows finally begin to retreat, the scale of Monica's accomplishment is undeniable. While every other camp restarts engines and digs themselves free, hers has never stopped. Her gold totals dwarf those of her rivals. Her empire now richer and wider than anyone dared imagine. The figure $45 million becomes etched into Yukon history as a record, a benchmark, a symbol of what is possible when brilliance meets determination. But for Monica, it is not the number that matters. It is the foundation. The empire she has built is no longer fragile, no longer dependent on luck or inheritance. It is hers, carved from frozen ground and forged in silence. The Yukon has crowned kings for over a century, men who rose and fell with the seasons. But now, for the first time, the throne belongs to a queen, and her reign has only just begun. The thaw comes slowly, as it always does in the Yukon. Rivers crack free of their ice cages, mountainsides drip with meltwater, and the ground, once frozen like iron, softens into mud. For most miners, this is the signal to begin again. Engines roar back to life, camps awaken, and new seasons of hope rise with the spring sun. But for Monica Beets, there is no restart. Her empire never stopped. While others slept under winter's weight, she was building, digging, and expanding. By the time her rivals thaw their first cuts, she already sits on a mountain of gold that dwarfs their wildest dreams. Dawson City can hardly contain the frenzy. Merchants whisper of supply orders so large they've never been seen before. Mechanics boast of repairing Monica's machines through the deepest winter, their hands still scarred from frostbite. Local bars overflow, with miners telling and retelling the story of her jackpot, each version growing grander in the telling. To outsiders, it sounds like a methane excavator tearing into frozen ground and releasing a wall of gold, so bright it lit the night like fire. But for Dawson, it is no myth. It is gospel. Parker Schnabel, once the golden boy of the Klondike, becomes a ghost in his own backyard. He rides into town less and less, his presence shrinking as Monica's legend grows. The few times he does appear, the stares burn heavier than the Yukon sun. Miners who once rushed to shake his hand now turn away. Investors, once dazzled by his confidence, now whisper behind closed doors about pulling out entirely. He feels the humiliation like a wound that refuses to heal. The Yukon does not forgive weakness, and Parker's weakness is now plain for all to see. But Monica does not gloat. She does not waste her breath on taunts or her time on Parker's downfall. Her focus remains unshaken, her empire her only priority. She continues acquiring land, her lawyers filing claim after claim until maps of Dawson are dotted with her name. Surveyors push deeper into untouched valleys, their equipment dragging across ridges no miner has dared explore in decades. Each new flag planted in the permafrost is another line drawn in her growing kingdom. And then comes the rumor that shakes Dawson to its core. Word spreads that Monica's surveyors have found something extraordinary geological data hinting that the golden spine vein she uncovered may not just be one strike, but part of a colossal system, a network of veins stretching for miles beneath the Yukon, their purity beyond anything recorded in modern times. If the rumors are true, Monica does not just hold a fortune, she may hold the key to rewriting mining history itself. Parker scoffs publicly, dismissing the talk as fantasy, but in private, he feels the sting of fear. He knows the Yukon well enough to understand that legends often hide kernels of truth. And if Monica truly has tapped into a vein system of that magnitude, then his empire is finished not just for a season, but forever. Meanwhile, Monica's camp grows into something unrecognizable from its humble beginnings. No longer just a cluster of tents and machines, it now resembles a fortress. Convoys of supply trucks arrive daily, engines rumbling like an endless march of reinforcements. Wash plants rise larger than anything Dawson has seen, their steel frames gleaming in the spring sun. Helicopters buzz overhead, ferrying her across claims as she inspects new ground with the precision of a general surveying a battlefield. Her crew, once small and doubted, now swells with miners from across the Yukon, men and women eager to align themselves with the new queen of gold. The shift is undeniable. Even rival miners, men who once swore loyalty to Parker or fought Tony for scraps, now seek Monica's favor. Some bring offers of partnership. Others arrive hand in hand, begging for leases, for even a sliver of ground near her jackpot. Monica listens, her silence weighing heavier than words. She does not accept every offer, nor does she reject them all. She chooses carefully, building alliances with the precision of a strategist. Every handshake is calculated. Every deal moves her closer to total dominance. The Yukon has seen wealth before. It has seen strikes that change the course of lives, of families, of generations. But never like this. Never with such scale. Never with such silence. Monica's empire rises not with fanfare, but with steady, relentless progress. And in that silence lies her greatest strength. For Parker, the silence is unbearable. He walks his empty cuts, staring at the shallow gravel that once promised riches, and feels the weight of his failure pressing harder with each day. He knows his crew senses it. He hears their whispers, their doubts, their envy of those who crossed into Monica's camp. Each defection cuts deeper than gold ever could. One night, unable to bear it, Parker confronts Monica once more. He storms into her camp under floodlights, engines growling behind him, cameras chasing his fury. His words are sharp, accusing her of lies, of theft, of trickery. He demands answers, demands acknowledgement, demands anything to soothe the sting of his collapse. But Monica does not flinch. She stands calm, her arms crossed, her gaze steady. When she finally speaks, her words slice cleaner than any blade. "You lost because you never listened," she says. "Not to the ground, not to your crew, not to the Yukon." Her voice carries across the camp, quiet but unshakable. Parker's anger falters. His crew looks away. The cameras capture not a battle, but a coronation the moment the Yukon itself declares its queen. By the end of that season, the numbers make the truth undeniable. Parker barely scrapes by, his totals a shadow of his former glory. Monica, on the other hand, announces figures so staggering they echo across the mining world. 45 million in gold, enough to crush rivals, enough to build an empire, enough to secure her place in history. And as winter approaches once more, the Yukon whispers a new truth, one that will be told for generations. The kings of the Klondike are gone. A queen now rules the frozen north. Summer in the Yukon brings a strange kind of light. The sun lingers, stretching across the sky as if it never wants to set. Shadows grow long, but never fade, and the land glows under a twilight that lasts for weeks. It is during this strange, endless daylight that Monica Beets takes her next step. Her Yukon empire is secure, the golden wall still producing in staggering amounts. But Monica is not content. She sees what few others do, that gold is not just treasure buried in the ground. It is power, and power does not stop at claim lines. Power spreads. Her expansion begins quietly. Teams of surveyors, funded with her new fortune, are dispatched far beyond Dawson. They carry maps into remote valleys, across frozen rivers, even into the harsh mountains of Alaska. Helicopters ferry geologists to peaks where no miner has set foot in decades. Samples are collected in silence, smuggled back under false names, just as she once did when she outsmarted Parker. Every result is cataloged. Every anomaly is mapped. The findings are extraordinary. In Alaska, veins glitter just beneath the surface, waiting for someone bold enough to dig. In untouched ridges north of Dawson, magnetic surveys show strange patterns, the kind of signs that send shivers down a geologist's spine. And deep beneath her own claims, the golden spine is confirmed to stretch further than anyone imagined. The jackpot she uncovered was not the end, it was only the beginning. Investors swarm like bees to honey. Men in suits fly in from Vancouver, New York, even London. They arrive in helicopters and private jets, their briefcases full of contracts and their eyes hungry for a share of her fortune. Monica listens carefully, but she is not swayed by promises or dazzled by wealth. She remembers Parker's arrogance, how it blinded him. She refuses to repeat his mistakes. Instead, she builds her empire the same way she found her jackpot, quietly, strategically, and without mercy. Every deal she makes is precise. She does not give away control. She demands partnerships on her terms, alliances that strengthen her grip instead of loosening it. Where Parker once sought investors to fund his empire, Monica flips the script. Investors now beg for the chance to be part of hers. Meanwhile, Parker Schnabel feels the walls closing in. His once unstoppable reputation now haunts him. Every bar in Dawson echoes with the story of how Monica outplayed him. Every new miner who enters the Yukon comes chasing her legend, not his. Crew members who once looked at him with loyalty now see only a man who lost. His empire, once a machine of steel and pride, has rusted into silence. He tries to rally. He digs new ground, He pushes his crew harder, but the gold does not come. His wash plants rumble and churn, but their mats gleam only with dust. His investors no longer take his calls. His rivals no longer fear him. And worst of all, his silence is no longer respected, it is pitied. His silence is no longer respected, it is pitied. Back in Monica's camp, growth explodes. New wash plants rise, bigger than any Dawson has ever seen. Convoys of equipment arrive weekly, engines thundering like an army on the march. Maps of her empire spread wider across tables in her command tent. Alaska is no longer just a dream, it is her next frontier. Surveyors confirm deposits. Helicopters ferry equipment to remote ridges. Contracts are filed. Within a single year, Monica Beets controls not only the richest claim in the Yukon, but one of the most promising veins in Alaska. The world takes notice. Mining journals across North America dedicate front pages to her rise. Newspapers in Vancouver call her the Yukon Queen. International investors whisper her name in boardrooms, comparing her empire to those of legendary tycoons. She is no longer just a miner. She is an industrialist, a power player, a force that reshapes the future of gold. Yet, through it all, Monica remains unshaken. She does not gloat. She does not seek headlines. She continues her work in silence, her eyes fixed always on the ground, always on the gold. She knows the Yukon is unforgiving. She knows power is fleeting. She knows legends can crumble. So she works harder than ever, digging deeper, pushing further, building something that no storm, no rival, no season can erase. And in Dawson, the legend only grows. Around campfires, miners tell the tale of the night her bucket struck the golden wall, of how she tricked Parker with silence, of how she turned the richest strike in Yukon history into the foundation of an empire. Children repeat the story like a fairy tale. Old-timers nod in respect, knowing they've witnessed history. The Yukon has seen kings rise and fall, but now it has a queen who outsmarted them all, a queen whose empire stretches from the frozen rivers of Dawson to the peaks of Alaska, a queen whose reign is only just beginning. By the time autumn returns to the Yukon, Monica Beets' name is no longer just a Dawson legend. It is an international headline. Her empire has expanded past the familiar valleys of the Klondike, past the ridges of Alaska, and into boardrooms across the world. Mining magnates in Johannesburg, tycoons in Perth, bankers in London all speak her name with a mix of respect and fear. For the first time in decades, the gold industry, long dominated by faceless corporations, is shaken by a single figure, and that figure is Monica. Her next move is bold. With Yukon and Alaska secured, she sets her eyes southward, toward untapped riches hidden beneath the jungles of South America. Geologists she hires return from Peru with samples that gleam under dim lights. Explorers in Guyana bring back whispers of riverbeds thick with untouched deposits. Even in Africa, in regions where mining giants have reigned for generations, Monica's scouts uncover opportunities others dismissed as too risky, too remote, or too expensive. But Monica thrives where others see risk. The same silence that served her in Dawson now becomes her weapon in the world stage. While corporations fight over permits and public relations, Monica works quietly, cutting deals directly with governments, negotiating with precision, and ensuring every move strengthens her control. Her empire grows into something beyond the imagination of most miners. No longer just excavators and wash plants. She now commands fleets of cargo ships moving equipment across oceans, aircraft carrying her engineers into untouched territories, and financial arms that rival banks in their power. What began as a single jackpot in the Yukon now unfolds into a dynasty stretching across continents. And yet, through all this, she remains the same Monica, grounded, silent, focused. She does not indulge in extravagance. She does not waste her wealth on the illusions of power. Every dollar earned is reinvested into the earth, into the machines, into the men and women who dig, who survey, who build. For her, the empire is not about glory. It is about permanence. Meanwhile, Parker Schnabel becomes a shadow. In Dawson, his name is spoken with pity. Old miners shake their heads when they recall his arrogance. Younger miners barely remember him at all, their stories filled instead with Monica's triumphs. His camp, once the pride of the Klondike, lies abandoned, rusting into the soil, swallowed slowly by moss and snow. A few diehards remain loyal, but even they cannot deny the truth. Parker's reign has ended. On rare occasions, Parker attempts to return. He takes interviews, makes promises, hints at comebacks. But the world has moved on. Investors no longer see him as the golden boy, they see him as the man who was outsmarted, beaten, and left behind. His silence, once a symbol of strength, now feels like emptiness. The contrast could not be sharper. As Parker's story fades, Monica's only grows. Journalists write of her empire as if it were legend. Headlines call her the Iron Queen of Gold. Documentaries follow her footsteps. Cameras capturing the impossible scale of her operations, machines tearing through jungles in Peru, rigs drilling into African ridges, convoys